Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. Thank you for joining me today. This is episode 44 of Hockey on the Spot, and a great episode it promises to be because, as of yesterday, the preseason has officially begun. And also, I hope all of you Jews out there enjoyed a nice Yom Kippur yesterday. I know I did, but it was definitely even more enjoyable to know that preseason hockey has returned and it is one step closer to the regular season returning. So, with that being said, basically the rest of these episodes are going to be scores and statistics for as long as there are games going on, and of course, scores from the previous day. But there will still be some updates as well, but those won't happen until after. And I will say who scored each and every goal. I will try to say all the assists as well. However, if games don't post the assists like the preseason opener between the Washington Capitals and the Winnipeg Jets, then I will not say the assists. I will only say the goals. So let's get right into it. Starting with, again, the preseason opener, the Craftville Hockey Challenge in Belleville, Ontario, home of the Belleville Bulls of the Ontario Hockey League. The Washington Capitals and the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets, the host team. The Caps, the road team. The Capitals win that game by a final score of 4-3 in a shootout. Capital goals scored by Jack Hillen, Stanislav Galiev, and Troy Brouwer. Winnipeg goals scored by Evander Kane, who had 2 goals, and Scott Kosmachuk. He had the third goal, and then in the shootout, defenseman Mike Green, the only scorer in the shootout in that game. So congratulations to the Washington Capitals on winning the preseason opener, but they almost suffered some bad news. Alex Ovechkin took a pretty bad high stick at one point in the game and left the game, but luckily managed to return, play a full game, and though he went scoreless in the game, it was just good to see that he didn't have any major injuries. So glad Ovi's safe and sound. Again, congrats to the Washington Capitals on winning the preseason opener, even though it is only preseason. The next game, the Edmonton Oilers at Calgary Flames, Group A, Squad A, I should say. This was the first squad game this preseason between the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames. The A squad playing at the Saddle Dome, which thankfully is now up and running after the flood earlier in the year. They get that ready for the preseason opener. Squad B, however, would play at the Rexall Place. Again, Calgary Flames at Edmonton Oilers. So we'll go over the scores for both of those. In the Squad A game at the Saddle Dome, the Edmonton Oilers A squad would come out on top in that game. Goals being scored by Ryan Jones on the power play from Jeff Petrie and Taylor Fadoon. The second goal of the game scored by David Perron of the Oilers, assists to Taylor Fadoon and Boyd Gordon. And then the third Oiler goal scored by Martin Marinson, assisted by Ryan Hamilton and Jordan Eberle. So those are the Edmonton goals. Calgary goals scored by Emile Poirier, assisted by Shane O'Brien and Ryan Culkin. And then the second Calgary goal, Mike Camilleri, assisted by Matt Stajan and TJ Brody. So 3-2 was the final in favor of the Edmonton Oilers A squad. So congratulations. That was in regulation. Good game for the Oils for sure. However, in the Squad B game, a completely different outcome. This was the most interesting game of all. The Squad B game, Calgary Flames at Edmonton Oilers at the Rexall Place. The Edmonton Oilers had a 5-2 lead at the end of the second period, only to see it slip away. The Flames got 3 in the third period and then won it in a shootout. 6-5 in a shootout, the final score in favor of the Calgary Flames. So Calgary goals scored by Ben Street, assisted by Ben Hanowski and Tim Jackman. Second Calgary goal scored by Dennis Weidman, assisted by Yuri Hudler and Sven Birchie. Lance Bolma would get the third goal, assisted by Derek Smith and Keegan Kanzig. Um, uh, so good goal there. Josh Joris would then get the next 2 goals. The first one would be assisted by Ben Hanowski and Derek Smith. The second one, the game tire, came on the power play, assisted by Sven Berchi and Dennis Weidman. So those were the Calgary goals. And then the Edmonton goals, Taylor Hall would get the first goal just 24 seconds into the game, assisted by Alish Hemsky and Darnell Nurse. Ryan Smith would then score on the power play, assisted by Denis Gerbeshkov and David Musil. Kyle Platzer would then get the next goal with under a minute to go in the first, assisted by Mike Brown and Brandon Davidson. The next goal would be scored by Marco Arcabello, assisted by Jesse Joensu and Nail Yakupov. And then the final Edmonton goal scored by Jesse Joensu, assisted by Justin Schultz. And then in the shootout, the Calgary Flames would score on both shootout attempts. Sven Berchi and Roman Horak would get the shootout goals and win it. Well, Linus Olmark and Taylor Hall both came up short. So congrats to those. And then, of course, through all the games, the goaltending was also pretty good. In the Craftville game, Eddie Pasquale played the full game for the Winnipeg Jets, stopping 36 of 39 shots. And for the Caps, they got a splitting goal between Braden Holtby and Philip Grubauer. Philip Grubauer would make 25 saves through overtime, and then, of course, would lead the Caps to the shootout victory. For the Squad A game between the Oilers and the Flames, time in net between the Oilers split by Jason LaBarbera, who made perfect 12 saves and 12 shots, and Richard Bachman, who gave up 2 goals on 10 shots, made 8 saves. And then for the Calgary Flames, time would be split between Joey McDonald and Yoni Ortio. Joey McDonald making 10 saves on 11 shots, and Ortio making 8 saves on 10 shots. And then in the Squad B game, the Flames would split in net between Kari Ramo and Rito Berra. Rito Berra making 13 saves on 14 shots. He relieved Kari Ramo of duty after giving up 4 goals on 17 shots, also 13 saves. And then for the Oilers, Olivier Waugh pretty much played most of the game, making 18 saves on 22 shots, and he was then relieved by Devin Dubnyk, who made 12 saves on 13 shots, but was the losing goaltender in the shootout. So good games all around, and that is just the early sign that preseason hockey is back. In the meanwhile, though, there have been some updates going on the past couple of days as well, so let's get right into it. Starting with the biggest update of all, probably from 2 days ago, the St. Louis Blues have finally come to terms with restricted free agent defenseman Alex Pietrangelo, signing him long-term to a 7-year contract extension worth $45.5 million, and glad that he signed up. He is absolutely, quite arguably, the biggest part of this team, and is a very possible candidate to represent Team Canada in Sochi this year. So, a very similar type defenseman to a guy like Scott Niedermayer. So, very good to see that going on. So, congratulations to Alex Pietrangelo. Also, another re-signing by the Columbus Blue Jackets. They re-signed fourth-line enforcer Jared Bull to a 3-year contract extension worth $5.1 million. And that's good because they do need him. He is one of their top enforcers for sure, and a guy who really gets under the skin of other players. Also, unrestricted free agent forward Simon Gagne still looking for work, and basically feels betrayed that the Philadelphia Flyers are not going to re-sign him after they told him that they would. They have changed their minds, and now Simon Gagne currently looking for work as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. He wants to try to get a contract done with the Habs, and they are a team that could quite possibly have interest in him. And honestly, I think that would be a good move. Personally, I personally do think that would be a good move because I, because they really could use a guy like him. He may not be the same scorer anymore, but he could still provide some offense as a bottom six forward and some defensive abilities as well. Also, there was another big restricted free agent signed yesterday. Ottawa Senators restricted free agent defenseman Jared Cowan finally gets signed to a 4-year contract worth about $12.4 million, which means only two of the big restricted free agents remaining, defenseman Cody Franson of the Toronto Maple Leafs and center Derek Stepan of the New York Rangers. And the Rangers obviously will try to find a way to get him signed. One possible option that they could try to get him signed um, is if Martin Biron plays poorly in the preseason and Johan Hedberg plays excellent in the preseason, that they could sign Johan Hedberg to a very small contract worth about $550K, and then trade away Marty Biron's $1.3 million cap hit. Because he's a valuable goaltender for any team. He could provide some depth as a backup goaltender for any team, and so could Hedberg. Hedberg, much older, a couple years older, but if they need to sign, if it means getting Derek Stepan signed, then so be it. Another option, of course, is to put both Carl Hagelin and Ryan Callahan, or one of them, on long-term injured reserve to ease some cap pressure. That is another thing that they could do. Also, the Montreal Canadiens have signed a 3-year entry-level contract to their top goaltender draft pick, Zach Fucale, and a great move, because especially if he's going to be their future in net. He is definitely going to prove himself as one of the greatest goaltenders in the world at some point. And if a guy like Carey Price doesn't play well, this is a guy who could prove to be a great future in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. Meanwhile, going back to the Ottawa Senators, shortly after re-signing Jared Cowan, they have finally named a new captain. No surprise here, Jason Spezza has been named the new captain in Ottawa, and honestly, I think that was the best choice and really the only choice all along. I know Erik Karlsson was a possibility, Chris Phillips was a possibility, but no, gotta be Jason Spezza. Bobby Ryan was also another small possibility, but again, this is his first year in Ottawa, and you never know if he's going to stay when his contract runs out. So Jason Spezza, in my mind, was really the only option, the only real viable option. So Jason Spezza is the new captain. Chris Phillips and Chris Neal are the alternate captains. So good there. And also a little bit of a surprising number change. Dan Cleary has agreed to have his number changed from 11 to 71 in order to allow Daniel Alfredsson to wear number 11. That was very generous on the part of Dan Cleary. Speaking of captaincy, now the Tampa Bay Lightning, the big team to watch as far as naming a new captain, and realistically only two options for them, either Martin St. Louis or Steven Stamkos. I originally thought that maybe it should be Steven Stamkos, but I am having second thoughts, and I do think Marty St. Louis would be a great captain for this team. Even though he's a much older player, he's in his 40s, his early 40s. He's still a solid player in this game and a lead, and arguably the best lead by example player in the National Hockey League. So it would not surprise me at all if St. Louis became the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And finally, the actual situation going on with the two remaining restricted free agents, Cody Franson and Derek Stepan. Basically, both seem to have worked out years as far as the contracts they want to sign with their respective teams. However, both players seem to be asking for more money than what the cap situation is for both teams. This is not good. I don't like this at all. It just shows that it's one of those things that really shows that these players might just be playing for money. If they really cared about the game, then why not just sign to the deal that they're offering? So we'll see. how that works out. I really hope that they can get these guys signed. I'd love to see Derek Stepan play tomorrow against the New Jersey Devils. And Cody Franson, he's a defenseman I think goes really underrated. So I think he could be a valuable player for the Leafs for the upcoming season. And I think he could potentially be their most valuable defenseman at some point in the future. Um, and that is basically it. In other news, other minor news, Henrik Tolinder of the Buffalo Sabres called out New Jersey Devils head coach Pete DeBoer and said that he thinks that he is the reason why he did not play well in New Jersey the past couple of years. So he's not bashing the New Jersey Devils organization. He's just bashing the coach and is just really happy to be back in Buffalo and out of New Jersey. So there you have it. That is our statistics for today. So guys, be sure to watch some preseason hockey tonight, because tonight definitely lots of games going on. 7 games tonight. Alright, featuring the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Columbus Blue Jackets, new division rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Philadelphia Flyers, St. Louis Blues and Dallas Stars, Buffalo Sabres and Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators and Winnipeg Jets, and finally, split squad games between the Phoenix Coyotes and the Los Angeles Kings. One squad will play in Phoenix, and the other squad will play in Los Angeles. So be sure to check those out, guys, because there's sure to be some exciting action as far as games go tonight. Alrighty, guys, that'll do it for episode 44 of Hockey on the Spot. Join me again tomorrow for more preseason scores. Until then, this has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.